Let's learn about every force that you need to know for AP Physics 1 in 60 seconds. Let's start with the applied force. The applied force is simply a force that is acting on an object from an external object such as your hand. The gravitational force is the force that's felt by gravity and is always pointing downwards towards the center of the planet. The normal force is the force that's felt due to the ground and is pointing in the opposite direction of the point of contact. The force of friction is the force that's caused by the ground of an object that's either moving or has an applied force, and is always in the opposite direction of the applied force. If the object is moving, we need to use the kinetic friction, and if the object is not moving, we use the static friction. And the friction is always equal to the coefficient of friction times the normal force on the object. The tangent force is the force that's caused by something hanging and is always in the direction of what's causing that hanging, either the rope or the string. The spring force is the force that's caused by a spring, and it equals the spring constant K and the distance away from equilibrium, and will always point towards the equilibrium position. The resistive force is any force caused due to some resistance. In most cases we can look at air resistance, which is in the opposite direction of motion in free fall. Gravitational force is used whenever we're talking about planets or satellite motion, and it equals the gravitational constant G times the mass 1 times mass 2 over the radius squared. And so it's always pointed towards the object that's causing the gravitation. The buoyant force is the force that you feel due to water and is always pushing upwards out of the water, and it equals the density of the fluid that you're in, the volume of the fluid that you're displacing, times the gravity. The net force is not a force you would see on a free body diagram, but instead it is the sum of the forces and shows where the acceleration of the system is going to be. In this example down here, there's no net force in the y direction, so the net force is 0, but in the x direction there is some net force pointing to the right. The centripetal force is a special type of force that's used during circular motion and is always pointed towards the center of the circle. It's not a force that goes on a free body diagram and is usually caused due to normal force or tension force when something is going in a circle. Those are all the forces for AP Physics 1. Now get back to studying for that AP exam.